Hi, my name is Steffan Mr. Wiggles Clemente, Rocksteady Crew, Electric Boogaloos, TC5 Crew, Zulu, straight out the boogie down Bronx. I'm a B-boy, popper, locker, rocker, mocker, flocker, hocker, soccer, whatever the fuck you want to call it, I do it all, y'all.
Rock, breaking, all the stuff you just mentioned. Can you bring us back to that scene at that time and who inspired and motivated you?
Talking about the 70s and who inspired and motivated me back then and how the scene was. Back in the days, it was an outlaw scene, you know. To be real about hip-hop, how it was back then, it wasn't the peace, unity, love, having fun thing. That was a slogan made by Africa Bambaataa and James Brown to stop black on black crime and crime amongst people of color. Now, back in the 70s, it was outlaw culture. Outlaw is what we call, how we describe a gangster. Outlaws were running the streets back in the 70s, so it was very violent, and it was a lot of commotion from the gangs and the outlaw culture, and the scene was built on outlaw culture, what we call outlaw culture, from the Black Spades, Savage Skulls, Savage Nomads, and these were very violent gangs. So the culture of hip-hop was being bred through this part of the streets that we don't talk about a lot. And hip-hop was kind of the escape. It was kind of a way to get street credibility, to get a ghetto pass. You know, you can get a pass to go to other neighborhoods, and that's where it came out of. That was the scene. Every street jam, every park jam, you were surrounded by this type of culture and this atmosphere. And my inspirations were anybody that looked cool. You know, if I told you I knew I was going to be a dancer, I lied to you. I was trying to be cool like the cats running in the streets. If they did something cool, I wanted to do something cool like them. If they were 3-cart money, so I learned how to do 3-cart money. If they were tagging, I wanted to tag. If anything the older kids did, good or bad, I wanted to do that. And that led to seeing a kid. We were all riding skateboards like kids do, you know. We were riding skateboards in the 70s, black and Latino kids on skateboards. And one of them fell and he did a drop and he spun up. And I'm like, what was that? That was one of the early times that I saw a kid actually do a move, a b-boy move. And he showed me the drop. And I kept doing it all night. I wanted this drop. The way he got up off that skateboard and shit, I wanted to learn how to do that continuously. And that was my life in the Bronx, and growing up as a kid is trying to learn cool shit. And that's why probably I learned so many things, you know, and I'm known for doing many different things. And my inspirations really were there were rockers and b-boys, but it wasn't just that they were dancers, it's how they carried themselves on the street. Even today when I'm dancing, I'm imitating people that I grew up watching. How I'm acting, my mannerisms, everything. And you know, everything from the talking with the hands, you know, there was cats doing that. I'm doing that all the time because I saw my boys doing that. But the dancers I looked up to was one, a kid named Quinti. Quinti is like a short word for a small conga, a conga drum. A Quinti, and he was a cool rocker, you know, and he got down and he bowed and he did bows and arrows and then he dropped, and I loved his style. There was a b-boy named Beaver. Beaver was unknown today, but back in the days he was the superstar of the streets, probably the most famous dancer in the hip-hop scene was Beaver, from my age group, mid to late 70s, and he was a Zulu king. I also looked up to my older sister Wanda. We worshipped the woman. When the women danced, we respected them, and to us they were some of the best dancers was females, and my sister was a phenomenal dancer. I learned a lot of steps from my sister Wanda. Slick Watts, he was like the Buddha Stretch of the 70s. He was a phenomenal party dancer, and I'm still doing his dances today. And those are some of my early dance influences.
Stop kidding the hot shit, you know where it come from. It's really worldwide phenomenon, and reinforcing that shit is my 9 to 5. And when I'm finished making you recognize, I'm getting at a couple civilized women that's trying to rise. You were waiting on the war to come off the wall. You wanna get the bitches up on the wall, just to see you smile and enjoy yourself, to keep you in health. This for all of y'all. I'm putting on the tour like black and raw. I can't tell what y'all cats rap before. My name BG's and I'm back for more.
So can you bring us back into the mindset of the time and how the actual dance brought you away from the violence and the troubles during that in New York, right?
Yes, sir. So my mindset at the time, growing up in the Bronx in the 70s, and how the whole dance was an escape from the violence and everything that took place. Honestly, I would be a liar if I told you that I was trying to escape. I wasn't. I was trying to be involved. Most of the people from my age group didn't look at street dance as an escape. We did not know that's what it was doing. It was literally just time off the street. That's what it was. We didn't know we were doing time off the street when we were practicing and we were getting down. So that's like a God-sent thing. Now we were trying to get in the shit. So I'd be a liar if I told you me and my crew and my boys and the people I ran with was trying to get out of trouble. We didn't know about getting in and out of trouble. We was trying to get into stuff, get into shit, and be involved and be here, be there, you know. So my mindset back in the days was going on a mission. A mission is like you either trying to, a mission could be going bombing, like hitting trains, that's a mission. Going to a jam in another neighborhood that you're not used to and making it back alive or without getting robbed or getting into beef, that's a mission. Trying to get girls, do a freak party and try to get with girls, you know, these are, we would call them missions. We were doing missions. So, you know, let's go on a mission. What you want to do? We want to go to this jam up in Morehouse. Let's go. Well, we better bring something. And, you know, it was that's what the Bronx life was about. We didn't know we getting in and out of trouble. We had no clue that every day could have been our last day, you know, but that was the mindset, you know. It was exciting. Dangerous, but exciting, you know. It's good questions, good stuff.
So, growing up during that time, there was no YouTube, there was no social media, so how was the struggle of the promotion for yourself and your crew?
Growing up back in the days, no YouTube, no social media, no easy way for props, nope. Back in the days, your Facebook was a black book, a graffiti book, you know, that was social media. Passing around a black book, seeing what cats wrote about you in another borough or another city and then writing a message back. And also, you know, your wall where you put posts up was literally walls, trains, buses. So that was social media for hip hop. Mixtapes, jam tapes, rocking the mic. Back in the days, you know, we didn't have a record industry. What we had was jams, live jams, and you had a fat Puerto Rican brother named Tape Master who would bring his TDK tape decks and not TDK, were they TDKs? But he had these master tape decks and he would record the jam and distribute them. So it was all underground, and if your name was shouted out on that jam tape, if you rocked a mic on that jam tape, everything you said on that tape, if you cussed somebody, you talked to a girl, whatever you said, that was social media. So literally we had more of an imagination in dealing with how we perceive people from other areas. A lot of it was rumor. You hear about shit that people did, and then you imagine how it went down and what he did. If it was dance oriented, writing, if it was a street fight, if it was a shootout, you just use your imagination. So I think that was a plus that we had. Not saying we were more creative than the new generation, that's not true. But that we were able to create a culture from nothing. That is true. We started it. A lot of this is meant to start in that generation because of the vent that we had in our imagination. And I think that's the edge that we had in my generation and the generation before me in creating. You know, we were more focused on picturing things and painting pictures in our mind and then trying to capture it on the dance floor, on the train, or on the mic, or on the tables, or with the fashion, you know. And we was a little smoked out. You know, I don't want to lie to y'all, you know. We was smoking something, some funny pink shit, and, you know, and we was having a good time and living that life, you know.
Cool, man. So the New York graffiti scene has gone down in history. You know, like that's something everyone knows about and talks about. And you were a part of the crew TC5. How did that crew come into play, and what were you guys trying to promote?
You're talking about TC5 now.
Yeah.
Somebody's doing their homework. Before Rocksteady, I was TC5. Before TC5, I was 156 Street Crew, 156 Street Posse, Fox Street Posse. TC5 was that crew for me that was hip hop. It was a writing crew. And for me, that crew was responsible for pushing graffiti or writing into hip hop. Because before that it was iffy, you know. But the crew, we had a certain type of swag and essence that we put into our letters and our characters. We started the B-boy character, the Fat Laces character. That was my crew. Because we started the Fat Laces. That was my crew. So we had fashion locked, we had dancing locked, and we put it all in the letters, and we created the original mug characters. A lot of the mug style characters that you see in hip hop, with the Fat Laces and the Kangos and all that, was coming out of my crew. We were just that generation, and TC5 is the Rocksteady crew of the writing world. We weren't the originators, but we pushed the level and the flavor of writing into hip hop. And a lot of the writers today are still mimicking TC5 style. Now, every member of TC5 was a student of a master. Me, I was a student of Days and Knack, and Scene was a student of Case 2, and Doe's a student of Dondi. If you know your homework and you know these writers, you know they were all masters. And, you know, Lady Pink was a student of Fuzz, and we were all learning from the masters and bringing it back to our crew, and that's what made our crew nasty. I got my name Mr. Wiggles from the leader of TC5. My name, I'm not Mr. Wiggles, I'm Wreck. Anybody from back in the days will tell you they're going to call me R-E-K, R-E-C, because I like to wreck shit. I like to wreck trains, and that was my thing. And the leader of TC5 saw me do one move. It's a move I forgot about. Not the wiggle walk, but another type of wiggly boogie move. And he saw that, and that Mr. Wiggles was his side name. So the cops couldn't find him. He would tag Mr. Wiggles. He gave me that name, Mr. Wiggles. 1981, I believe it was. And we were cutting class and hanging out. He saw me get down. To get down in TC5, I did. If it's you know, don't call us, we call you. He saw my book. He called me, hung out with him, and the first thing he really did, he wanted to see if I had heart. He started a fight with this big ass dude, and I had to fight this big ass dude random dude, you know, and I fought the dude. I had a feeling I knew what he was trying to do, just to see if I had heart. It wasn't about winning a fight, it was about having the heart to stand up. And I did, and, you know, I guess he liked that. So he was my mentor. Scene TC5, Black Scene, not the Italian scene. There's two scenes. Black Scene, Rupert. He was a skinny cat like me, but he wasn't scared of nobody, and I liked that, and I wanted to be like that. So there was a lot of elements of TC5 that I still carry today, and I still rock the TC5 chain. And everybody always wondered what this chain is. It's a TC5 chain. The Cool 5, the Crazy 5. Or the Crazy 500, because there was a lot of us.
Cool.
Good shit, good shit. I'm not mad at y'all.
What are your thoughts on the mind, the body, and spirit communication in dance? And dance as a vehicle of communication, and how you would express that created message through dance to, say, an audience or another crew or another person you're battling?
Wow. the whole message and the communication behind the dance and how we use it to communicate, really, it's the music that was created for it. The vibrations of those beats. I can't talk enough about syncopated beats and how they're trying to remove syncopation from music today, and they're using electronic music to wipe out syncopation. You know, when you're making beats, make sure you turn that quantize off and you make mistakes. We want mistakes. We want the beats to be imperfect. We want things to be natural and organic when you're making it. So you turn that quantize off and you make a solid beat pounding on them pads, you know? Make sure that when you're making a beat, it's exactly how you're picturing it with your body, you know? Now, I'm all about syncopation in the music. I'm looking for the beat to be funky. And that funky comes from the syncopation of a... You hear it just changing and changing, it's moving, and it's pushing. All of that is what we want in the music, and that's the language. You know, to be honest, we're not communicating verbally. If we did, we're going to go back into politics and religion. We're communicating dancing to music. And we're watching how each person talks over the beat with their body. And we're adjusting and fixing and trying to learn each other's language. And how people move to the beat in different cultures is going to be different. And we're trying to help make everybody understand each other. So the language that we're speaking goes much further back than our time. We're just relaying it in our time using turntables and mixer drums and shit like that. So we trying to catch vibes. You are, I am, all of us. And this type of communication supersedes anything that you ever learned in school, anything you ever learned in religion, politics, mathematics. It's the real language. It's what's going on in the universe right now. Everything's vibrating and moving and circling, and it's crashing and bumping, and like these things are happening naturally. So when you're dancing, you appreciate your mistake. You appreciate when you fall. You appreciate the parts that you really don't like. You embrace it and you make it part of your freestyle, and then you become free, So a lot of times when we getting down, we speak in the language. I'm constantly talking, man. When I'm throwing my hands around, you don't know what I'm saying, but I'm blowing your mind, and I'm tapping my hat, and I'm saying, these are my blocks. Don't come at me wrong, because I'm going to catch you with a block, and I'm going to catch you with a slap. I'm pulling out guns. I'm telling you my story, my life story. Every time I dance, I'm relaying a message, and it's from my root of my dance, of where I came from. And I believe on a spiritual level, on a spiritual plane, and that they don't want to see us, all the races united. And I think music is the reason why. They know they have to control the music in order to control the people's minds. And I think the B-boys, B-girls, poppers, and the lockers, and the house dancers, and the voguers have a special way of keeping that message alive, And without that, honestly, everything would kind of wouldn't be as balanced as it is right now in the underground for the poor people. We don't have the problems that the rich and upper class people have, because we know if shit went down, we're gonna survive. They got the fucking problem. They don't know how to survive like we do, and I think that's the connections that we make. So I think that's why street culture is kind of a way to teach people how to live that life. Yeah, like a poor kid. Or appreciate things that you don't have and shit, Appreciate things when you get them, And appreciate the simple things, I think we have that kind of organic vibe when we get together, And we celebrate it with our little battles and our powwows, That's a gathering of street dancers from all over the world where we just get together really just to vibe out. Who wins, who loses, who gives a fuck. It's about the people in the building and shit, Excellent questions. Really, really dope questions, man.
Appreciate that, man. So, there's a lot of people who don't actually know the histories or the styles of hip-hop and popping, and they mostly categorize it as dubstep or non-stop dancing. How can this change, and does it even really matter?
Well, how we categorize hip hop dance and the culture and the styles within hip hop and how it's structured and how it connects even to cats that do dubstep. Well, the truth is, it's about again, we go back to funk music, soul music. That's what we are. We're all funksters and soul dancers. And hip hop in particular was a particular type of funk that focused on cutting the break. So our particular funk focused on the go off. In crump, that's getting buck. You know, it's the same message. Go off, go bananas, go crazy, get buck. And so the connection even between the B-boys of the 70s and crumping today is still there. We getting buck, we going off on the break. And then you had the West Coast and the poppers and the lockers. They fit in because when we were pushing our movement in the 70s, they were pushing theirs, and they just collided into two important movies, commercial movies, but two important movies that pushed hip-hop together. So the poppers and the lockers joined and united with hip-hoppers in the 81, 82, 83. They started coming to New York. We started going over there, learning from each other, and then we made the movies Breakin' and Beat Street. Now that united poppers, lockers, b-boys, and rockers. And together we pushed the movement. The dancers pushed the movement more so than the rappers. Rappers separated the movement. The dancers pushed the movement together. And from that, you had break beats, funk music. Then you had electro funk, which is taking electronic sounds and electronic music, mixing it with soul and funk. And from that, you had jungle, and then you had dubstep and all these other sounds that are started generating from hip-hop and our movement. And then you're going to get a lot of spots of places that just can't find it. You know, it's not their fault. They just don't know where to go. They don't know how to type in poppin'. They're going to type in, how do I learn how to dance like Michael Jackson? So a lot of kids are still thinking that we're dancing like Michael Jackson, and they're right to think that way. They don't have the word association. So they're going to come up with some shit that we're going to say is corny, like dubstep dancing, and they're gonna call it flexing, they're gonna call it hyphy, and they're gonna call it this and that. And I think and we have a right to counter it and say that's bullshit, and they have a right to say fuck you, I want to live my life like this, and we're gonna have friction, and we're gonna continue to build and create no matter what, and that's all part of it. You know, I would hate to say, you know, no to a cat like Nonstop. You know, I would say I smoke him, or you would say that, or he would say that, but I would never say he's wrong for doing what he's doing. You know, I'm going to say, if you're dancing because you love it and you're in a circle, then by all means, don't give a fuck about history, don't care about technique, just get down, have fun. The minute you become a professional, the minute you start teaching, and the minute you start presenting yourself as an authority on it, now that's when we're going to get you. Now you must learn your fucking craft. But if you're doing it to have fun and enjoy yourself, call it whatever the fuck you want. Have fun. You can call it anything that, call it with smurfing or doing the Donald Duck. I don't give a fuck. And you having fun, enjoy it. But you're going to start making money and paying bills and taking money off of other people's table, then I got to stop you. Then I got to correct you. Then I'm going to be on your case because there's people that were before you. You're doing techniques of this cat and that cat, and you're making money off of it. And that's where the responsibility of the street community has to come together and educate. And we did that. We did that. And, you know, Brother Nonstop is still doing his thing. He's learning from other OGs and getting knowledge, and that's how we keep the culture healthy, you know.
You know I get the kilos. So come on, if you are not bilingual, get the fuck up out of town for me when you ask
How has your Puerto Rican culture and background affected your career?
Okay, my Puerto Rican background and culture. A lot of people don't know I'm Puerto Rican. You know, they think I'm Italian or something. My background is my soul and my pride. I grew up, you know, a young Latino, you know, and Latinos, Puerto Ricans were a little different because we have in our culture, black culture, Latino culture, and native culture. We have all three. So we have Spanish blood, African blood, and Taino blood, the Taino Native Indians of Puerto Rico. We celebrate all three cultures, and it makes Puerto Ricans a little different and special. We're a lot more closer to the Cubans than we are to other Latinos. And we celebrate African rhythms. We play drums, and we celebrate Taino rhythms and Spanish rhythms. We do it all in food and culture, and I think that put us in a special place in America and in society. And I grew up with the most amazing dancers in my family: salseros, hustle dancers, rockers. And if you know hip hop, you know that the Puerto Ricans were down, and there's a big debate. The reason why is because Puerto Ricans weren't necessarily hip hop. We were rockers, and rockers got connected into hip hop. It wasn't that we copied any dance. We brought our dance into hip hop. And if you're looking at a b-boy today, you're looking at the essence of breaking and rocking. We get left out of the history because of that. But the truth is, rocking goes back before hip hop. We were already rocking before hip hop came in '73. So that's why there's a lot of problems with the story of hip hop culture. But in my family, you had incredible dancers and musicians. My family also had salseros that played salsa music. Grammy-nominated musicians called the New Swing. And I grew up with this music and with this dance. And I always managed to keep the feel and the flow of my people and my culture and my family in my dance. And you could see it a lot in my newest clip where I actually do, horrible salsa because I'm the worst dancer in my family. But I'm doing my culture every time I get down. And one thing I love about Boogaloo Sam, he told me that. He said, Wiggles, you're Puerto Rican, right? Well, do some of that Puerto Rican. Put some of that Puerto Rican in your popping. So I always manage to put a little bit of that flavor in my popping and in my breaking and so forth. So, yeah, thank you for asking that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man, thanks for answering. Cool. So, what are your thoughts on sending or creating messages, whether it be controversial or not, through your performance?
Well, the benefit and cost of sending a message, regardless of whether people will understand it or respect it, is our freedom as an artist, that we should be able to relay a message, even though people might not understand it. A lot of people won't get the shit that I'm going to say. They're going to notice I cuss a lot, and then I flex a lot, and I act hard, and I'm, they're going to say, why you doing with your hands, and why you throwing up this, and, I think that I'm not out here to be the perfect human being or the perfect specimen. I'm here to represent a people and a place and a time and an era, and I got to stay true to that. Now, the way we look at it from where I'm from, in my perspective, if I do something in the scene, I should be able to still walk back in my hood comfortably without getting questioned, So I have to be careful. I can't be the one to cross certain lines. Young people today can, and I would never hold it against them. I personally can't put myself in that position. I feel like I owe it to the people before me. I can't do certain events. I can't do TV shows. I can't do all that. That's not really meant for me. I can't write the book. I can't do something that'll make me look corny to a kid in the street that I grew up with and say, yo, Wiggs, why you doing that corny shit? You sold out, man. I can't do that. It's not for me to do. I have to kind of stay within the realm of how I lived it when I was young and how I'm going to portray it to the people. And then I allow the young people to take it any direction they need to take it. And all I'm going to do is guide them to make sure that they keep it within the essence of the culture. I'm not going to stop creativity. But I am going to scream on y'all when y'all do something that's out of line with the culture and the people and how it should be represented. Which is why OGs can be a pain in the ass to the youth sometimes. But it's not that we're trying to stop young people. We're trying to make sure that along the lines of the moves that you're making with it, we're going to keep insinuating that you do not forget where it came from and why we do it, you know? So, you know, it's a little give and take, and I don't expect people to agree with it, all the things I say, question it and cross-reference everything I say, and then you tell your story, you know?